Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as Chair of the Board of Washtenaw County Road Commissioners, I welcome you to this July 20th, 2021 virtual regular meeting of our board. Our Communications Manager, Emily Kaiser, will describe how our virtual meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Emily.
Thanks, Commissioner. So I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. So first, if you would like to make public comment during the public comment portion of this meeting, we will provide instructions and prompt you at the appropriate time in the agenda to virtually raise your hand. This can be done through your computer or touch-tone phone. The chat feature on this Zoom meeting is available only as technical support for users on their computer or smartphone. If you are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, please submit a comment in the chat feature and I will help you troubleshoot. If you are a commissioner or a staff member who are having technical issues during the meeting, please contact the IT help desk. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded. A link to the video will be posted to wcroads.org in the next day or two. Today's meeting agenda is also posted to wcroads.org, and there's a link available in the chat. I'll send it one more time here in just a minute if you're joining us from your computer. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Emily. I now call this meeting to order and would ask that Emily call the roll.
Absolutely. Chair Barb Fuller.
Present, participating remotely from Scioto Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Here and participating from Superior Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Present and participating from Scioto Township.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Present and participating from Ypsilanti Township, Washtenaw County.
Managing Director Cheryl Siddle.
Present.
Did I say Commissioner Yamas?
No, you did not.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
I'm participating from Pittsfield Township in Washtenaw County.
Thank you. And Director of Finance and IT, Dan Ackerman.
Here.
Director of Operations, Jim Harmon.
Present.
And County Highway Engineer, Matt McDonnell.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. At this time, I ask that we observe a moment of silence for those who have perished because of the COVID-19 virus and the 3 new virus variants that have emerged. Thank you. Next on our agenda is acceptance of 2 sets of meeting minutes. The first is from our board meeting of July 6th.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, did you want to approve the agenda first?
Oh, sure. Thank you. I would accept a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the July 20th, 2021 agenda.
Support.
Any discussion, changes, additions? Hearing none. Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Sure. Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas. Oh, Commissioner, you're muted. Yep.
Yes.
Thanks. Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, we have an agenda. Next item on our agenda is approval of the board meeting minutes of July 6th, 2021. Those appear on pages 3 through 10 of your packet. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move acceptance of the board meeting minutes of July 6th of 2021 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, additions, deletions, changes to the minutes? Seeing none. Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next item are the closed session meeting minutes of July 6, 2021 that were sent under separate cover to the commissioners. May I have a motion to accept them, please?
Certainly you may.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, changes? Hearing none. Emily, if you would please.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next item is public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board, and Emily will now explain how this aspect of our agenda will work.
Thanks, Commissioner. So if you would like to make public comment, we ask that you virtually raise your hand now. If you're viewing the meeting on your computer, first make sure to click Join Audio, and then you can raise your hand by clicking the Participants or Reactions button at the bottom of your screen, and then the Raise Hand button. If you dialed into the meeting from your touch-tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. I will unmute participants with raised hands one at a time. I will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments.
Is there anyone with their hand raised?
At this time, Commissioner, I don't see anybody with a raised hand.
All right. And may the minutes please reflect that we've been joined by County Commissioner Caroline Sanders, liaison from the Board of Commissioners. Next item on the agenda, having no public comment, is written communications. Summary appears on page 12 of your packet. Is there anything there that people wish to inquire about or make comment regarding? Okay, we will move along. The next item would be staff follow-up to public comment. There was no public comment, so we will move right into new business. Next item is the consent agenda. Items 1 and 2, pages 13 through 22 in your packet. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Certainly you may.
And a second.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. Any discussion? Hearing none. Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next is the action item section under new business. We have 2 items, and I would entertain a motion regarding the first of those. The motion appears on page 15 of the packet, and it's regarding the East Huron River Drive Service Drive property proposed abandonment. May I have that motion read, please, for the record?
I'll be happy to.
Thank you.
Proposed motion, whereas this board has received a petition from 7 freeholders of the Township of Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County, Michigan, praying for the absolute abandonment and discontinuance of a portion of East Huron River Service Drive lying east of Thorn Oaks Drive, being a part of the northwest 1/4 of Section 36, Town 2 South, Range 6 East, Ann Arbor Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan, described more particularly in attachment B, attached hereto and incorporated herein. And whereas it appears from viewing the premises and hearing the petitioner's reasons that it is in the best interest of the public that the portion of said public right-of-way of the aforementioned East Huron River Service Drive, east of Thorn Oaks Drive, be absolutely abandoned. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Road Commissioners of the County of Washtenaw that the portion of the above described public right-of-way of East Huron River Service Drive, line east of Thorn Oaks Drive, being under the jurisdiction of the Washtenaw County Road Commission, is hereby absolutely abandoned and discontinued as public right-of-way, accepting and reserving an easement for utilities of record and or use as now occupying said right-of-way.
Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any questions about the proposed abandonment? Seeing none. Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Sure. Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The next item on our agenda is the Liberty Road at Zeeb Road intersection right-of-way acquisition. The resolution appears on page 16 of the packet with documentation about the question on page 32 and through 34. May I have the motion read, please?
Certainly. Proposed motion that upon the recommendation of the county highway engineer, director of engineering, and concurrence of the managing director, the board hereby approves the acquisition of a 800 square foot or 0.018 acre public road easement, more particularly described in attachment A, from the owners Alan D. Roebuck and Cyrene Stowers Roebuck, husband and wife, upon a parcel of property commonly known as 5520 West Liberty Road, Scioto Township, Michigan, and referred to as tax parcel number H08-28-400-007 in the amount of $2,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Next agenda item are reports. We'd like to hear from our county commissioner who is present with us, Ms. Caroline Sanders. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us today?
No, this is twice in one day. We might be able to make it a habit.
That would be lovely.
But I'm multitasking, so I'm with you and I don't have anything to add. I appreciate being able to be a part of the call.
Very good. Is there anyone who has a question or a comment for our county commissioner that's with us? Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Sanders. Road Commissioner reports. Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Has no report today.
Thank you. Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes, I have a report. Excuse me, sorry. On July 12th, I attended the virtual meeting on Wired Road resurfacing. And on July 15th, I, along with the New West Willow Neighborhood Board and the West Willow Traffic Committee, viewed the virtual meeting on Wired Road. I also put the link to the virtual meeting on Wired Road resurfacing on nextdoor.com app and the West Willow Neighborhood Facebook site, which reaches 6,000 people. I also put information about the US 12 and M17 improvements project information meetings, which will be held on July 22nd and October 21st at 5 p.m. located at 7200 South Huron River Drive, Ypsilanti, Michigan. I also put that on the nextdoor.com and Facebook, and I announced it at the New West Willow Neighborhood Watch meeting to make sure that the residents in the area are, have the information about what is going on with the Wired Road and the improvements being made at US 12 and M17. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Yamas.
So I'm sorry, Erin, I'll send you my report. So I requested information on workers I seen on 23, and Cheryl was kind enough to do an investigation and send it because of my concerns of safety of workers on the side of the road. I drove Getty's Road. It is beautiful. And Packard Road that is in the city of Ypsilanti, which was also beautiful work. That work has been completed for a while, but it is great looking work. So that's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Green.
Thank you. On the 14th of July, I served as the chat commissioner. And on that same evening, I met with the SEMCOG meetup meeting. And on yesterday evening, I had the privilege of joining the residents at the West Willow Association with Commissioner McCullum.
Thank you for that update. My report, I just have a couple of items. I want to remind the commissioners to update both their Microsoft and Road Commission software on their laptop computers. There were a couple of updates that I took care of today while I'm in the Z Road facility, and I encourage you folks to make sure you're keeping up with those. This year's October Commissioner Seminar has been announced, and I want to compliment our own Commissioner, Doug Fuller, who serves on the CRA Commissioner Committee, for putting together a very substantive and relevant program. Doug's a longstanding member of that committee, and I appreciate the time and attention he spends on it. Also want to thank, you're welcome, everyone who's been fully vaccinated or have made their arrangements to do so. We've still got a pandemic problem. 97% of hospitalizations are for those unvaccinated individuals. 99% of the COVID deaths are unvaccinated individuals. I can't emphasize enough the value and importance of taking care of that to protect our workforce and their loved ones. That concludes my report. If there's no further comments from our commissioners, I would hand it over to our managing director, Cheryl Siddle, to give us updates and cover the staff reports.
Sure thing. We have a whole series of staff reports from a variety of areas within the organization. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if you have on any of those before I share any further information. All right, the one thing that I would like to share is that I've mentioned before that I have been working with Evan Pratt's office, or Evan Pratt himself, with respect to possible use of American Rescue Plan dollars for a local road culvert or drainage program. And we have completed what we are calling the talking points associated with that. And it's a one-page, two-sided document. I mean, once again, Emily did a beautiful job of trying to take a pretty complicated topic and narrowing it down so that I think that it's easy to read a piece of information. And we're encouraged because the county did also release its potential list of priorities, which of course are long and I'm sure much exceed the $71 million in ARP funds that they will be receiving. But the culvert or stormwater itself is consistent with at least some of the priorities, specifically with respect to creating a more sustainable community. So we are encouraged by that. Now that we have this document completed, I'd like to, I'll distribute it after the meeting with this board, but we will be reaching out to some of the township supervisors who have expressed interest in this in the past, and certainly continue to work with Evan's office on an outreach as far as the possibility of being able to establish this type of a program, again, utilizing those American Rescue Plan dollars on behalf of that the county receives, which I have said multiple times, and I will say it once again for the record, that the Road Commission is not receiving any of those ARP funds. So if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to entertain them.
Building on what you've just said, Cheryl, not only is the Road Commission not receiving directly any American Rescue Plan dollars, but I don't believe the townships are allowed to spend their allocations on road projects either. Is that a correct statement?
I guess I'm not sure about that as far as the parameters. There's been different guidance on that. So if the county is eligible to spend it on stormwater, which I know Evan did a lot of research into that, because at first there was, he thought it was, then there was an indication that he wasn't, but working with all of the resources that he has available, they did determine that it would be an eligible expense. So I guess to me, it's personally unclear whether the townships could or could not use their own ARP funds towards this. I think it is worth mentioning what we're specifically talking about is the local roads system here. I know there is discussion at the federal level that there hopefully will be an infrastructure package of some nature that will be moving forward. If it is similar to any other federal dollars that we have received, those are typically only eligible for the federal aid system, which in our case normally looks a lot like the primary road system. So that would be yet another example of where the local roads, the roads that we rely on having a funding partner for, those roads once again would not be eligible for federal dollars. So I think that that's an important piece of this, that there's not going to be any other source of funding that looks like it's going to be coming down the pike that could be utilized towards the local road system in the same manner that it appears that these ARP funds may be eligible for. But specifically with the townships, I don't know the answer to that, Barb.
I would encourage the townships to investigate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions? All right. Jim, I know that you have some good news with respect to the FEMA request that came through, or that you had been working on for the last couple of weeks. And there's other things that are also going on in the operations department.
Thank you, Cheryl, and good afternoon, board members. Cheryl was referring to the rain event, the severe rain event that impacted Southeast Michigan. It really began the evening of June 25th and went into the morning of June 26th. Area received rainfall ranging from 5 to 8 inches. Probably all of you have seen the photographs of sections of I-94 flooded following that severe rain event. That prompted the governor to declare a state of emergency for Wayne County. Turns out Washtenaw County, much of Washtenaw County was also impacted by that rain event. And County Board Chair Sue Schenk declared a local state of emergency and appealed to Governor Whitmer to extend the declaration for Wayne County to include Washtenaw. Ultimately, Governor Whitmer did exactly that. The state had appealed to the president, and the president followed suit here recently, just last week, authorizing the use of federal funds to help mitigate the impacts that were caused by that. And I believe there were 3 or 4 counties that were included in the declaration. Backing up a little bit, shortly after the event and immediately before Governor Whitmer visited Wayne County, county leadership contacted the Road Commission, contacted Cheryl, and Cheryl enlisted my service to put together the costs and expenses that this agency incurred in response to and recovery from that event. So the impacts that we saw were localized flooding, so we certainly had response that evening and early morning to put up signs and barricades in partnership with local area emergency responders. So it was overtime expense, and with the materials that we brought out, we had significant impact to our gravel road system throughout the county. Washouts, saturated road bed that resulted in ponding and severe potholes from the surface being weakened by the rain. The winds that were associated with the thunderstorms knocked a lot of trees and limbs down, so there were certainly costs and expense and addressing those issues, just to name a few. In total, our labor for both straight and overtime, equipment, materials, fringe, and overhead amounted to just shy of $138,000. I'm also pleased to report that our workforce responded quickly and promptly recovered from that by that following Wednesday. So we were able to isolate all those costs and expenses, put together a report, submit that to the Sheriff's Office Emergency Services Group. They posted that with the state emergency management website, and that has all been rolled up and is being provided to FEMA at this time. It is possible that the Road Commission may recover some or hopefully all of those costs. Those costs were expended from our Michigan Transportation Fund. So any reimbursement would be certainly welcome to offset the cost from our budget. We were assured by Washtenaw County Emergency Services that all of the costs and expenses that we incurred would be eligible for reimbursement should FEMA authorize that. So good news, and continue to keep the board posted as this moves forward. Any questions on that particular issue? Okay. The Operations Department staff report for the period of June 28th through July 11th can be found in your packet, beginning on page 36 through page 40. A couple of highlights with active work. Our paving operations is administered by the Operations Department, has been disrupted by the recent rainstorms, rain events, and that wreaked a little mayhem on the paving contractor schedule. So that's temporarily postponed our paving operations, and we anticipate resuming paving next week. So a little bit of a break. Our fog seal operations, which are part of our primary asphalt pavement preventive maintenance program, is ongoing, and we anticipate reaching 50% of the fog sealing by the end of this week. We are benefiting from very good weather, very good conditions this week. We're grateful for that. The previous rain events did cause some delays to that program. We had hoped to be done by the end of this month, but it looks like the rain events will extend the program by about 2 weeks. We're thinking the middle of August. We should be done with all the roads but for Wagner. Wagner Road is being done in collaboration with Matt and Brent Schlack as part of safety investments that will be occurring on that road this season. And we will be coordinating with them to follow with chip sealing and fog sealing of that primary roadway, again, in conjunction with those safety investments. So a little bit of a postponement on that last project. And then finally, our local road program in partnership with our 20 townships is ongoing. Dust control, of course, and the districts are into the second application midsummer, as we would expect. And we're also continuing with drainage, whether that's roadside berm removal, ditching, tree trimming, forestry operations, and even limestone and gravel resurfacing. All of those items are ongoing. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any questions for Jim?
All right, thank you, Jim. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Matt, I know that we have a lot going on in the engineering department as well. If you'd like to give a brief overview.
I can just hit on a couple of active projects. We in fact are paving for one of the federal aid projects on Whitaker Road between Arcona and Willow Road. So that paving should wrap up today, and shoulder and striping by the end of the week. And then additionally, we're paving on Pleasant Lake Road at Zeeb Road. That's part of the first phase of the Zeeb Road project, working at the intersection. We're hopeful by early next week, or maybe sooner, that intersection would reopen and the contractor would move their attention to north of the intersection. So.
Would that mean we could allow the trucks that are presently detouring Pleasant Lake Road to resume traveling on Pleasant Lake Road again?
Yes, that would be true. By next week, we're hopeful that the haul route and trucking operations can resume on Pleasant Lake rather than using the other directions or an alternative routes. So
We thank you.
no problem. Bemis Road at Carpenter, that intersection project is ongoing. The curve is down and we're looking to begin paving early next week, weather dependent, of course. And but that they're doing a nice job of, that's an intersection improvement for widening for left turn pockets, and then a traffic signal installation. Any question on those projects? That's all I had for updates of current.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, Dan.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate the discussion on the budget this morning, and I thought all of you had a lot of great questions. Certainly, there's a lot of information there. So if you think of any other questions, feel free to reach out at any time. Obviously, the budget's important, and as we mentioned, you will see that on the board agenda for the next board meeting in August. Barb, I did a little bit of homework, and the projected fund balance at the end of 2022 was 13% of expenditures, and the projected fund balance at the end of 2023 was 7% of expenditures. So I know you had asked for that, so I just thought I'd provide that. Finance department's preparing our second.
Sorry, Dan. So end of
Yes.
2022 projected to be, you said 13%?
13% of expenditures, yep.
Okay, and then 23?
7%.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're also working on our second round of township billings, at least getting those prepared. And then also wrapping up some of our second quarter reports. And then as far as IT, we've been seeing some more in-person meetings, or I should say, I don't know, these are probably the first round of in-person meetings. And some of those have been occurring in our conference rooms. And staff is already starting to utilize the technology that's available in those rooms, which is great. We do plan on offering some more training for that, but it's nice to be able to finally use some of the technology that we have. And then lastly, the cybersecurity training deadline is August 2nd. So if any of you have not completed that, we ask if you could do so. Again, that's something we're being asked to do as an agency in order for our insurance purposes. So if you have any questions or we can help you out at all, let us know. But again, it's important to go through anyway, but you know, it is a requirement that all of us go through it.
So do our premiums go up if we don't all?
I don't know, or maybe we have to attend a class, or who knows?
Yeah.
But that's a good question.
Or we'll be billed for the increase in the premium?
Maybe determine to be a little more riskier or something. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. So any questions for me? Okay, well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Commissioner Fuller, it's come to my attention that we had a member of the public that was attempting to speak under public comment, but due to technical difficulties was unable to do so. I'm not certain. I know we don't normally open up for public comment this late in the meeting, but given that that person did actually attempt to speak but was unable to do so and is still present, would you be willing, if we can get her connected, to do that?
Certainly. Again, the same guidelines apply, you know, a limit of 3 minutes. And I would say that it's for that single individual, that we're not reopening public comment carte blanche.
Thanks, Commissioner. So this is user, I think her first name is Dale Lynn. Dale Lynn, you should get a prompt that's asking you to unmute at this time.
I think I have it.
We can hear you. Yeah, go ahead with your comment. You
Yeah.
got 3 minutes.
Fantastic.
So please identify yourself and your address if you would be so kind.
I live in Augusta Township. My name is Dale Lynn Malonen. I've lived here 27 years. This is an unpaved road on Judd. And as you know, there's many problems in Augusta Township with road quality. The specific thing that I want to bring up is how much damage there was from all the truck traffic when they built the Nexus pipeline, specifically off of Judd Road, Hitchingham. They traveled through most of the township. They sat in the roads sinking. They damaged, you know, some of the old drains through the road. And I do not feel that we got any compensatory care. We got regular maintenance. We live by the McCarty Bridge on Judd, and specifically for my house, which is, I don't know, 500 feet away, you could like hear the stress on the bridge when they brought those haulers down with the timbers they used to build the temporary road. They were way over any normal road limit on this type of road. When I have called in to complain about the condition of the road, I've been told that, you know, the township just has to come up with more money to put more stone on the road. And I am saying that a lot of the road work is not up to standards, what is done on a regular basis. And I know I am saying something offensive, but there's times when the road is being graded around us that, and they don't hit our section of the road. And then I called to say, you know, the bridge is horrible. You have to crawl down Judd Road here. I used to have a business out of this house. I can't ask people to come here. That is a big reason I had to retire. And so after the, you know, the redoing of the road right before Nexus, it has fallen into further disrepair. Now we, on this section, have also paid 2 assessments through our taxes, tons of money for improvements. And I see that the situation has deteriorated. This particular piece of property, 7685 Judd Road, has a lot of drains on it. They were natural things. The projects have not improved anything on our property, and the condition is just really bad. And I'm probably out of time. I don't have a watch.
That's all right, Dylan. You were just at 3 minutes when you stopped yourself. I do know that we do have your contact information. We've got your contact information. Go ahead, Commissioner. I think you're going to say something.
Yes. Daylin, thank you very much for taking the time to tune in and offer your comments. I'm asking our managing director to look into your concerns and reach back out to you with some feedback on the questions you've raised and the concerns that you've pointed out. But I want to thank you for taking the time to come to us and let us know that you have concerns and your perception of where they arise from. So give us an opportunity to reach out to you, look into it, and see what can be done. I make no promises. Thank you again. Cheryl, back to you.
All right, that concludes what staff had to share, and I will follow up as well with the resident.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, did you have any closing thoughts, comments, questions about any of the staff reports? There was a bundle of them. right? We had the fix it, we had communications, we had recruiting, permits, traffic and safety, and then the normal staff reports that we see typically from operations, township by township. Okay.
Commissioner Fuller, it looks like Commissioner McCollum has a question.
Commissioner
Yeah.
McCollum.
I wanted to know, do you know what the billboard picture is going to look like for the jobs, for the to apply for jobs?
Emily, can you speak to that? You've been working with the billboard company?
Sure. The short answer is we aren't sure yet. We will work with them to design it. I have never designed a billboard. I don't know what size font you're supposed to use to have it be big enough on a billboard, but we're going to work with them to design the billboard and keep in similar kind of themes to what we've been using for our mailing that went out. So, you know, billboard design, you got to keep it short and sweet because people only have so much time to see it and we don't want them to be distracted on the roadways. So once we have a design of that, I'd be happy to share that with the board. But that is something that I need to work on. It's on my to-do list. We just don't have a design at this point.
Okay. No, I have another question about the mailers. You said you had 850 direct mailers targeting drivers and mechanics. How did you know, how did you know who to target?
So we chose to target drivers and mechanics. Those are the positions that we were trying to focus on recruiting for. And then we worked with a mailing company, actually a print company that is in Scioto Township that has the ability to buy these marketing lists. So we paid for access to this mailing list that this company, a third party, collects this information. And so then we paid to use that list and then we mailed using the addresses that we paid for. So it's a tactic it's a marketing tactic that other agencies or other types of businesses use as well. It's just, this is the first time we've tried it.
Okay. And were you able to have anyone, or has it happened, the open house?
So the open house was scheduled for this evening. We had one person RSVP, and so we're going to reach out to that. I know Nicole was reaching out to that person directly, but we were testing out to see if we got good feedback and had more RSVPs, but we only had one. So unfortunately, it didn't have the kind of turnout that we wanted. I think it was still a useful effort to try, but we decided just to reach out to that person one-on-one and they can have a nice one-on-one conversation instead of attending a virtual open house.
Thank you. I think you're doing great work on that.
Commissioner Yamas.
Yeah, thank you. What a great idea for a mailer. So I know that a little bit about how that works. So are you targeting a specific neighborhood or you pay by address, correct? And where are you choosing to send the mailers to? What specific neighborhoods, or are you doing Polk County?
Yeah, so Commissioner Yamas, we worked with our print company and we selected by county. And so we mailed the 850, I think it was 855 went to the 4 counties. So Washtenaw, Wayne, I'm going to get them all wrong. Washtenaw, Wayne, Lenawee, and I think Livingston. I can look at the list, but it was by county. You can target as narrowly as zip code or even more narrow than that. And we looked at all sorts of different combinations, but we felt that doing these specific counties would be our best bet and would get us a good number to mail to. You can get very specific where you would mail to, 50 people, but we wanted to do a little bit broader than that. And so that's why we chose ultimately we went with by county.
Okay, so, and does the mailing company decide what neighborhood they're going to send them to since they're doing them by county? 855 mailers is a lot, but it's not when you're talking about county.
Right, when you're talking about thousands and thousands of people. So what they did is at first we were looking for people who were truck drivers, mechanics, because those were the positions that we were advertising for.
Right.
And then we looked to target those truck drivers and mechanics within those 4 counties. So it's not a mass mailing to everybody who lives in those counties. It's a targeted mailing at those who the list has identified as truck drivers or mechanics who live within those 4 counties, if that makes sense.
So they have the ability to target people who are in those occupations?
They do, yes. They can target by all sorts of different occupations. They could target people who have a very specific medical licensure, for example. I think it gets very personal, but that's how we all get, customized marketing materials delivered to our home.
Right.
So
Was
it can get
CDL
that.
holders, Emily,
So
CDL?
it wasn't as specific as CDL holders. We made it
Okay.
a little bit broader than that. But you can get with these types of lists, my understanding, and I'm not an expert in this, but my understanding is that you can get fairly specific depending on what you're looking for.
And to clarify though, the counties were Washtenaw, Wayne, Livingston, and Jackson, I believe is what we have listed.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Green?
Yes. So on page 47, there's a beautiful graph as it relates to applicants. And I'm wondering, is it possible to do a similar graph for hiring demographics? People who've actually been hired, not simply the applicant pool, but who's being hired. Is that possible?
Do you mean recent hires or do you mean of our current employees, like our full workforce?
Well, I'd like to see both, honestly.
Okay. All right, we can see what we can put together.
Okay, thank you.
I want to emphasize, I'm hearing a real concern about diversity in our hiring and outreach practices. So if there's specific information that you would like provided to you in the future or an ongoing basis, if you can identify those characteristics specifically that you're interested in, it would help Cheryl and her staff respond in a planful way. You kind of feel like you're in the hot seat when you get these questions like this today. And I think our staff deserves an opportunity to put together information in a comprehensive and meaningful way. So that's my ask of the commissioners, out of respect for the staff and what they're trying to accomplish and all of their efforts. Give them a chance to put together a report that has meaning and draws a picture that is useful to us. So Gloria, if you wanted to know, did we do CDL holders? Did we screen for this? Did we screen for that? What are those characteristics so that Cheryl and her staff can respond and look into that? Because as you can imagine, that's not something you carry around in your hip pocket all the time. But I do want to underscore that they're trying to leave no stone unturned in terms of outreach to this community to try and expand the pool of applicants. Anything else? Okay. I want to remind everyone that our next board meeting is August 3rd at 1 o'clock. There's no working session on that day. Tomorrow, Commissioner McCollum, you're up for the chat session. And then the following week, Commissioner Yamas, you're on deck for those conversations, assuming we have some. So
Okay.
if there's no further business to come before the board, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Yamas. Moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying, well, Emily, if you would please call the roll.
Thanks, Commissioner. Yep. Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. See you all on August 3rd.